Hey guys, today I'm gonna show you how to make a simple scene setup in Blender with a 3-point light setup, which will light up your objects like this. Wait a second, gotta set the right size so it looks good. Shade it smooth and hide the top of this wheel. That's also pro technique, hiding the top from the camera view. And we've got little shadow terminate issues which we can fix by pressing shading in the object properties menu and increasing the shadow terminator slightly until the hard edges disappear, like this. We can also fix this by adding a subdivision modifier, but this has diminishing returns because if we disable the shadow terminator again after applying the subdivision, we still see small facets in a close-up rendered view. This is due to how the normals still work like normal normals, like flat normals. If you don't shade smooth, you can see the effect of the faceting of the shadows here. Now let's switch to, yeah, it's better, but you can still see some banding right here. So remember to shade smooth, add a shadow terminator to make the banding go away, and switch your white properties to black also. So just set the strength to 0, so you only have your light set up and not some unwanted light, which in a studio setting isn't actually there. So remember that part. So now let's look at this 3-point light setup. Let's look at it using spotlights. I pre-configured it so it's easier to understand what's going on. So this is the key light. This is facing from the direction of the camera to the object, and basically you should put it. I put it in a different spot because I wanted to show you where it's gonna go. It's basically a mostly camera focused, like something like a flash on camera, so it would be like here or something. I'm not a camera expert, so bear that in mind. Wait, is it spatially consistent? No, it would be here, like here. Okay, this is getting complicated. It would be here, the radius would be smaller, so we get a sharp shadow. Not that sharp. Maybe like this. We would use a small softbox. So a shadow of 10 centimeters, shadow radius of 10 centimeters at 1 meter distance is perfectly appropriate. That's what this value actually affects. So now let's do the same for this one. This is the fill light. This will add a fill effect to the background of the object, which will give the object some extra detail shading on the edges. Maybe the monkey is a better example. I'll save my blend file like you should. I'm gonna call this scene setup. And I also recommend just going to file defaults and saving your startup file like this. So let's go back to the fill light and getting a better object to demonstrate on. So delete that with X, Shift A. What do we have here? I would just use the monkey and re-voxel him. So just go to remesh voxel, and you've got a voxel remeshed monkey. Just add some subdiv beforehand so it looks good, not after, before. And then decrease the voxel size until you are happy with the smooth shaded result. I'm not happy with these shadow terminators, so I'm gonna go one deeper into the voxel tree. Now, 0.01. So, you're getting banding because the subsurface is not deep enough for the voxel. So go one level deeper here, and you'll see slight shadow terminators, or banding, if you will. But it's okay for now. Let's not focus too much on banding and shadow terminators in this tutorial. They are important, so I covered the basics, but they're not the essentials. They're not the bare essentials you need. So the fill light comes from down low if the camera is up top. Still don't place it in the view because that's gonna make a non-physically accurate result, unless you add an area lamp, which you could, because you can add the plane, just add a plane to it, and you would get. Yeah, let's just use area lights basically. Let's just do this for the sake of this tutorial, so it's easier to understand. Okay, and the last light is so the fill light just fills up the background with extra detail by adding some slight lighting into the scene. You don't have to overdo the effect. If your monkey is yellow on the very border, it's enough. Wait, let's switch him to not that rough material. As you can see, he's catching some yellow. That's just enough. If we add subsurf, the effect will become more apparent. Oh, now I added the material to the plane. Wow, I'm such a blender genius. Rubber, we call this rubber. Rubber, I don't know if it's white or not, but let's just add subsurf and turn the roughness down to 0.1. Okay, subsurface rendering too long, sorry. Yeah, as you might be able to see, you can clearly see the area light in here. So let's add the last light, the the rim light. The rim light is for lighting the rim of the object. So basically like a fill light, but you're not lighting the entire object, but just a part of the rim. Fill light fills the entire rim. The rim light just covers some specular spots on here, so we don't have to turn it up all the way. Some people do, but I wouldn't recommend it for rim light because it's just there for extra specular detail. You see if I turn it off. If I turn it off, I'm dumb. Here, look at this. No specular detail here. Specular detail. You can make it a bit bigger, like 1 meter, like a big soft box. You'll see it in this reflection, which is fine because it's a physical object. It's a physically plausible object, unlike some point lights and spotlights. Like most point lights and some spotlights, I should say. So let's render this thing. I basically covered it all, and also this completely works in Eevee if you change one setting, which is the contact shadow setting on all the lights. And now you're going to basically get nice and sharp shadows on your object. If you want more shadows, or more shadow points I should say, just make your rim lights stronger. You get more blue into your scene. If you don't like that, that's alright. But basically, I didn't use black bodies because that won't work in Eevee. I wanted to make it work in Eevee in one simple click. So there you have it. Simple scene setup which works in Cycles and Eevee. Pretty powerful. If you add lights in your scene. Like if you have a car in your scene which has headlights, you don't need strong rim lights if your car is lighting something, for example, or if you add a big area light on top of the car, you don't need to calculate JGI. Let's relight the scene in the next tutorial. This should cover the basics.